breaking news. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I still have not had time to look for a better sound effect there, Mary. Yeah, for our little segments here where we do little micro workshops.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Today we're talking about doing 3-card readings, and I love this. And I started with 3-card reading. I think that the best training I ever had was studying James Rickliff's book. And it's all
Tarot.
3-card. Tarot Tells the Tale was the original name. I'm blanking right now on when he republished it, what he changed the name to. But just look for James Rickliff on Amazon. And yeah, Tarot Tells the Tale was the original publication name. And the whole second half of the book is 3-card readings that he did in his newsletter. I think it was the night. What was it called? Nighthawk newsletter. And he was doing readings for famous people from history, and it was just really cool. And the great thing about it was you got this idea of like, because the back history of most of these famous people, like Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, or she was Frankenstein, right? And Marie Antoinette and things like that. When he does the reading, you kind of get that, now I get how you do readings kind of thing, And it's a great place to start 3-card readings. In fact, there's a lot of people that have been doing this for 20, 30 years, and they still use 3-card readings. They sit down with their client. The client asks a question. They pull a few cards. That leads to other questions. Pull 3 more cards. So we did the yes, no. On the last show, we talked about how to do a yes, no reading. Today, we're going to talk about a 3-card reading. Some of the 3-card readings are probably the most well-known in the entire industry, like past, present, future, right? I'm going to bring up a list that I made, if I can figure out how to do that on do the screen share here. Let me share my screen here. And so I'm sharing a list of 3-card spread. This is by no means an exhaustive list. In fact, you can do a Google search for 3-card spreads. You're going to get a gazillion of them on thousands of websites. I kind of curated this from several dozen and, pulled out what I thought was really, the best ones, really, And if you want to, if you're listening in archive, if you want to get this later on, down in the description, there's a link that will take you over to a post on our Facebook group, our Tarot Guild group, with this image where you can just grab it and put it onto your computer or your device. Also, there's a link on that image, that description of the image on the Facebook group that will take you to a PDF version if you prefer PDF versions, because you like to save them that way. So you can get the PDF version or this JPEG image version just by clicking on that link. And oh, by the way, I should do that real quick, Mary, while we're talking. I'll put that in the chat here. So chat with me about this, Mary. 3-card readings. I think it's a great place to start. You're not having these huge unwieldy 10-card readings, like Celtic Cross or something like that. Great way to learn. And you might not even really need to go past it. We did a workshop, which you can get here on the YouTube channel down below. Click on the tarot workshops, our past workshops. And Corbie Mitleid did one on 3-card readings that was really good. So you can check that out after the show as well. But I love 3-card readings. That's how I learned with James's book. And I have the 5-card yes no spread that I use here on the show, and I talked about it when we discussed yes nos on Saturday. But I gotta tell you, I'm fan. I may start off with that, with the 5-card, Mary, and then I just pull 1, 2, or 3 cards for the rest of the questions that come up during a session. And it's so versatile. There's so many ways you can do 3-card readings, and it sounds really simple, but actually, depending on what which of these spreads you're using, you're giving specific meaning to specific placement of the cards. It can be very powerful. Now, of course, you can just pull 3 cards with no placement in mind, or anything like that, no spread in mind. And I often do that. I just pull 3 cards and see what comes up, but if you put it in the context of these are really cool. I think you get a lot of information, past, present, future. That's the most famous spread there is. And usually and the way I look at it with everything I do, including that 5-card reading that I do, the yes no is, moving towards the left feels like the past to me, and moving towards the right feels like the future to me, and the center being the now. And so that's just the why. You may like to move them a different direction, so feel free to place it the way you want. What do you think about 3-card readings, Mary?
Well, I think they're kind of fundamental. I mean, I think I'm a big fan of creating your own spreads. And I think with 3 cards, you can easily do that. But also, if you even start with the past, present, future 3-card, then you can build out from there. I always look at it this way: 3 cards makes a sentence, or it makes a story, the beginning, middle, and end of a story. So they're also great as writing prompts too. If you get kind of stuck and maybe you're writing a screenplay or something, and you're working on a particular scene, and you're like, okay, what is really happening here? What's really happening? What are the characters doing? You can pull 3 cards on that to kind of get some ideas if you're looking for ideas. So it works that way for writing prompts, really great. And if you have that past, present, future, you can build from there. The 5-card spread I use all the time kind of does that. I kind of build it from there, with a card above everything that kind of represents like the overall atmosphere of whatever we're asking the question on. And underneath is like, what is it that we're ignoring, or that we're pushing away, or repressing? So, but yeah, no, I think 3 cards is kind of fundamental. 3 cards gives you something. A lot of people start with the card of the day. They pull 1 card, and that can be very helpful too. We do it here on the show, but sometimes when that's fine, like general, like you told everybody in the chat, in the comments on the video, just ask us to pick a card, and we know you want a general reading, and we'll just pull a card for you. But that's like a snapshot, and I feel like 3 cards is more like a window.
It's like the natural progression after doing 1 card pulls for a long time and getting used to your cards and your deck, and then progress to the 3 cards.
Yeah.
Yep. So past, present, future, beyond, that basic, there's things like mind, body, spirit. So like you could pull a card for each, segment of you as a person, and then it's really handy when situations come up. It can give you a quick snapshot of that. So situation, advice on that, and then what's the outcome going to be. And then the next one is a nice little twist on that, because it's situation, obstacle, what's blocking you with that, and then the advice on what to do there. So and then the yes, no, maybe is almost a version of like the yes no spreads that we were talking about on Saturday, only it's giving you more information. So you're pulling a card for yes, you're pulling a card for no, and you're pulling a card for maybe, and then you're looking at what those cards are. You aren't actually in this. I think the way you're supposed to use this particular 3-card yes, no, maybe, yeah, and you don't have to do it this way, but you're not actually trying to get a yes or a no. What you're doing is you pull a card for yes, and then that card will inform, if you go with yes and do something, or the card is telling you whether it's a yes, more probable or not. And then you're pulling a card for the no, and then the maybe. And then in relationships, I love the partner A, partner B, and relationship. Some people put them in a row with the relationship at the end. I like it in the middle, like it is listed here, because it's kind of balanced. You have the partner A on one side, partner B, and you're pulling a card for each of them, but you're also pulling a card for the relationship itself. I really think that's, really powerful. What else do we got here? So like love and relationship, career and finance, spiritual path. That's a great general one. So you're pulling a card for each one of those. Somebody wants a general reading, or maybe you start out all your readings that way. You pull a card for love and relationship, career and finance, spiritual path, situation, action, outcome. What's the situation? What action can you take or should take? And what will the outcome be? Physical state, emotional state, spiritual state. This is very similar, I think, to the mind, body, spirit, where you're looking at your state physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I think that's really good. I think what's missing there is mental, which can be different from emotional, but I think that's what they're talking about there. Could be mental or emotional. And then I love this one. This is one of my favorites: subconscious, conscious, super conscious. What are you consciously aware of? What's hanging out in the subconscious, and what does your higher self or your super conscious want you to actually know here? And then we have option 1, option 2, and another option you might not have thought of. I love that too. And then of course there's always his side, but there's also her side, and then the truth. And don't get mad that I put his side and her side. Yes, we know that there's his and her and her. And yes, we know there's non-binary, there's they, so,
we didn't write these spreads.
We didn't write that, but adopt it to your own pronouns. Thank you. But yeah, there's always his side, the other partner's side, or we could say her side, and then there's the truth. So I love that. And then the last one that I put on here was what I think, what I feel, what I do.
That's deep.
That's a deeper one.
Yeah. Ooh.
Now at the very bottom, I'm not going to go into this. I just wanted to name it on the list. At the very bottom is a spread that I created like 20 some years ago called Tarot Squared. And it basically replaces the Celtic cross and enhances it, at the same time lowering the number of cards that are typically used and making it less unwieldy as far as physically doing the spread. Because what it is, it's three-card readings stacked on top of each other, forming a cube. And that's why it's called Tarot Squared. Cool. So I will chat about that on one of these lives coming up in the future, and you can learn all about it, and if you're, super curious, you can always shoot me a message. I can fill you in, but we'll do that as a topic, because that'll be a fun one. We could actually talk a little bit about the Celtic cross and then show how I came up with this. And coming up with the Tarot Squared, Mary, the whole thing was because of this, because of learning 3-card spreads. And I never wanted to stop using 3-card spreads. And I pretty much haven't, umpteen years later. And yeah, but this takes 3-card spreads And so it's actually a 9-card spread, but it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then diagonally 7, 8. It's actually 8 separate 3-card readings in one little spread.
Cool.
So there you go, 3-card spreads. If you have any questions or anything, give us a call, pop it in the chat there. Or if you're listening to this in archive or watching it on the YouTube channel, first of all, give us a like. I should be mentioning that. I think, often forget
Subscribe.
to, tell people subscribe and hit that little bell so you're, when all of our lives are coming up, and like the video. Yeah. And
Tell all your friends.
tell all your friends. And I do also want to mention real quickly that, if you're getting something out of these little learnings, or maybe you got a reading from us, either on the phone lines or through the chat, and you want to send us a tip or something, there's our tip. You could buy us a cup of coffee, Mary and I, coffee.tarottoday.live. Get Mary and Dax a cup of coffee. That's coffee.tarottoday.live.
I have my coffee cup ready.
Yep. In case you want to shoot us something, we appreciate that.
This show is powered by caffeine.
We are powered by caffeine. It is so true. It is so true.